My name is Dr. Charles Macal. I'm from Argonne National Laboratory, located southwest of Chicago.
I'm Diane Lauderdale. I'm a professor at the University of Chicago, and I'm an epidemiologist.
As a computer modeling specialist, the MRSA modeling system consists of a set of models of individuals using techniques that we refer to as agent-based modeling and simulation. So, for example, if we have a population of people in Chicago, we would model their daily activities, the kind of behaviors that they go through as they're going through their daily activities, and establish contact patterns for how MRSA could possibly be transmitted from one individual to another based on a person's activities during the day, whether those activities be in the community, work, school, home, or in institutional settings, whether those be hospitals or clinics of various types.
We're taking advantage of a great deal of data that's been collected already, much of it by the federal government, and for other purposes, but it's going to be really useful to us. So the census, for example, collects data on everyone in the country, and from it we know what their age is, and their sex, and their race, and a bit about their other things about them, their occupation, where they live. We're using that data to build a model of the city of Chicago. But then we want to know what those people do and how those different activities place them at higher or lower risk of contracting MRSA. Since 2003, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has had a really interesting data collection effort called the American Time Use Studies. They've collected data from large samples of the population, over 10,000 people a year, about what they do over a 24-hour period. So for example, they start out and say, it's 4 a.m. yesterday, what were you doing then? And someone would say, well, I was sleeping and I was at home. And they would ask, when did that stop? And they'd say, oh, at 6:30 I got up and then I did this and I did this, and at 8 o'clock I got in a bus. And they walk through their 24-hour day. And these data have now been collected every year since 2003. So we have data on a great many people that gives us a realistic sense of how different kinds of people. So for example, how does a 40-year-old Latino man in an urban area, what are the different kinds of patterns that he might typically have in his work day or in a weekend day? And we can take those data and use them to give our agents really realistic scripts for what they do over a 24-hour period, which helps us understand which activities place them in higher or lower risk for contracting MRSA.
So what we would do in the simulation would be to model people's activities, establish the contact patterns in terms of the duration of the contact, maybe the nature of the contact as well, depending on the setting that they're interacting with others in, and thereby estimate from that what the likelihood of transmission of the disease is from one individual to another. Thus, we would build up a kind of a bigger picture of how the population as a whole is both susceptible and becomes infected with the MRSA pathogens.
Our hope is that this model is going to give us good estimates of what the population impact will be of changing people's and physicians' behaviors. How much can we decrease MRSA transmission or MRSA disease in the population if we could get physicians to always prescribe the most effective antibiotic first? What would be the effect if we could get everyone in the population to cover up an oozing wound right away? What would be the effect in the population if we could decrease transmission in a household once there is an infection?
We are on the verge of what could be a revolution in the use of computers and simulation modeling to understand many of the processes around us, societal processes, that'll make us better able to allocate resources more efficiently, be more effective in our treatment programs, and simply have a whole new frontier available to better understand these processes that we've been thinking about and working with for the past several decades.